integrate topics into a general framework or scheme. Okay, so tapos na tayo kay approach. So, dito tayo kay classroom, tested methods, and corresponding strategies and techniques. Okay. So, dito tayo kay method. Okay. The inductive method and versus the deductive method. So, dito muna tayo kay deductive. Okay? Deductive method, the teacher shows directly what she wants to teach. Okay, directly. So, this is also referred to as direct instruction. Deductive method is also referred to as direct method. Okay? So, this, kaya direct method siya, kaya it is more of a teacher-centered method or teacher-centered approach. Okay? Meaning that the teacher gives student a new concept and then i-explain niya to and afterwards give examples to let the students understand the given concept. Kaya nga, from general to specific. So for example, topic is about quality control in clinical chemistry. So sa deductive method, i-discuss ko muna yung main basic principles and concepts niya. Okay? And then, i-end ko yung discussion by giving you different examples of quality control. Kaya nga siya general to specific. It begins with a generalization and all examples and specific situations are given to support the generalization or concept. Okay. So for the inductive naman, baligtad siya ni deductive. So from si deductive general to specific, si inductive will be specific to general, meaning from an example to a generalization. Okay, so this is introducing the topic from, sabi ko nga, specific to general. So examples are, example, ano ba yung example dito? Okay, example muna, magbibigay muna ako ng examples of different diseases that is caused by this particular organism. Okay? So examples muna yung binigay ko. And then, from the examples that I have given, you will arrive at a generalization and right away, pwede na ninyong maintindihan ano yung concept na gusto kong iparating sa inyo. Okay? Kumbaga, mauuna muna si example because we give you the chance or we give the students to the chance to parang mag-notice. Okay? The intention is to let the students notice by way of examples on how the particular concept works. Okay? Again, general to specific, si deductive. Okay? Concept muna bago example. Inductive, specific to general, example before a concept. All right? Okay, direct method and indirect method. Okay, so sabi ko nga kanina, kapag direct method siya, teacher-centered siya. Si teacher ang pinaka-main celebrity dito sa direct method. Okay? So, meaning that the teacher is the source of information. We supply you with the information and this is usually and commonly done through lectures. So, ano tong ginagawa ko ngayon sa inyo? It is a direct method. Okay, kasi ako yung celebrity ngayon. Okay. Okay, so for the indirect method naman, baliktad siya. Instead of si teacher, si student ngayon ang celebrity. Okay? Sa final requirement nyo yan, kayo si celebrity. Kasi student-centered siya. Kayo yung magdi-discuss. I-guide lang namin kayo. Okay, so opposite siya ni direct method. There is much involvement of the student rather than the teacher. We teachers only serve as your guide and facilitator. Okay? Next. Ito, si lecture method. So everyone is familiar with the lecture method as this is one of the traditional method of teaching. Okay, useful also if the teacher has several topics to discuss but only limited yung time. At least, hindi na magdi-discuss si student, purely si teacher na lang. So medyo mabibilisan lang tayo. Kasi lalo na kung limited time, this is very useful. Okay, so useful din siya in summarizing and this lecture method, just like what we are doing right now, because I am introducing a new topic or a concept. And then also we have to remember that this method is also the common method which is used in review centers. Okay, kumari sa board exam, yung kapag magre-review kayo sa mga review centers, so usually lecture method yung ina-employ nila. Alright? Then, syempre, si discussion method. So, paisin na ng paisin pinag-uusapan natin. And may hindi na siya boring. Okay? So, discussion method. This is a powerful mechanism for active learning. Active learning kasi may participation na si student. Okay? A well-facilitated discussion allows the participant o kayo as a student to explore new ideas while recognizing and valuing the contribution of others. Kasi group kayo, okay? Mag-group kayo, and then we value the contribution of each other kasi may sharing tayo. Okay? So under this method, ito na yung technique natin. Kunwari, you chose discussion method. So pipili kayo dito, ano yung particular technique ninyo na gagawin nyo sa klase. Approach, kunwari, approach nyo is student-centered. Okay? So this method ninyo since student-centered, lalo na may active participation dapat si student, ang napili nyong method is discussion. Okay? So dalawa na. Ano yung technique? Under discussion method, pwede kayong pumili. Will it be a small group discussion? Will it be a socialized classroom discussion? Or a panel? Or a recitation technique? Okay? So ganun yung pag-create natin ngayon. Okay? So pwedeng small group discussion technique, which provides the student the opportunity to share ideas or opinions without having to address the whole class. Kumbaga, i-group ko kayo into, i-divide ko kayo into small groups, and then I'll be giving you a certain topic to discuss on, and then meron kayong isang leader sa group, and then after that, all the discussions that you have gathered will be presented by the leader to the entire class. I-report lang ni leader. Isa lang ang magre-report. Pero may contribution ang lahat ng group mo. Okay. So socialize naman, just similar with the lecture, pero habang nagsasalita si teacher, pwedeng nag-share din si student. Kumbaga, ma'am, may share ako. Which is dapat related sa subject. Kumbaga parang meron tayong continuous discussion with each other. Hindi lang purely ako yung nag-discuss. Kaya nga siya socialized. Okay. So si panel discussion naman is a format which is usually used at conventions, conferences, and meetings where a group of people who are skilled in a specific topic can engage in a conversation in front of an audience. So sa panel discussion po pwedeng kapag third year na kayo, kapag magpe-present na kayo ng topic ninyo for the thesis, and kapag i-present nyo na yung pinaka-thesis ninyo pag magde-defend na kayo. That is called a panel discussion. Kasi andun yung mga teachers ninyo, andun yung advisor ninyo, andun yung mga experts pagdating sa subject. Okay, yun yung panel discussion yung ginagawa doon. And then, syempre ito, ako during my time, ayoko ng recitation technique kasi natatakot ako. Okay, makita ko lang na naglabas ng index card si teacher, natatakot na ako. So, depende nga, no? Depende nga sa approach ni teacher. Kung gusto mong mambigla ng student and alam mong gusto mong makinig sila, this is the best technique, yung recitation. Okay, yung habang nagsasalita ako, oh, Mary, what is the ganito? What can you say about this? Okay, yun yung recitation technique. Okay, next one, activity method. Ito yung method mo, activity. So, ano yung technique mo under activity method? Pwedeng reporting, project technique, field trip, dramatization, simulation, and brainstorming. Okay, so this method, again, is student-centered, wherein the students participate actively and bring about efficient learning experience. So you are actively involved So you participate mentally, physically, and then there is an active involvement from you. So kumbaga, yung learning by doing is the main focus of this method. Activity method, learning by doing. I guess ito yung parang pinaka-favorite ko rin na part during my time. So examples nga, yung sabi ko nga, ito si reporting, project technique. So kapag sa reporting, you are given a certain topic to research on and you are required to report it in front of the whole class. Okay? So familiar lahat tayo dyan eh. And then sa project technique naman is usually given or done to apply skills and knowledge learned in the course. For example, sa mga architecture students, they are asked to draw a building structure sa blueprint as their project. Sa case naman ninyo, sa Health Edu, yung project nyo yan, which is yung final requirement, yung teaching demo, is considered as a project technique. Kumbaga, pagsasama-samahin na lahat natin, yung lahat ng skills and techniques na and knowledge na natutunan nyo dito sa course natin, and then finally, meron na tayong final output, which is the teaching demo. Yun yung project technique. Okay, field trip naman dito, ito yung inaabangan ko nung high school ako at saka grade school. Kasi kapag field trip, so meaning lalabas ng school. Okay? So this is away from the, going on a trip away from the usual environment. So kumbaga, you visit an outside area of the normal classroom and then mag-o-observe tayo. Okay, so if I remember it right, during my days, grade school and high school days, excited ako every time na may ganito. Pero usually pinupuntahan lang namin is yung mga museum, ganyan. Tapos sa CCP, yung mga manonood ng play, ganyan, which is related sa subject or the, sa mga subjects ko. Pero ngayon medyo hindi na ganun ka-related kung nag-field trip man, di ba? Minsan, sa isang school, mag-field trip sila kasi pupunta sila sa Enchanted Kingdom. Okay? So, parang hindi na siya ganun ka-related. I don't know, pero siguro parang just to have time for each other, at least, di ba, magiging close kayo. So, yun din ang purpose siguro. So, depende kay trip ni teacher. Okay? And then, syempre, si dramatization. Favorite ko din ito. Okay? It involves non-verbal communication. Tapos, it usually arouses the interest of the students as well as the teacher kasi hindi siya boring, di ba? Kasi, kumbaga, we communicate our feelings through dramatization. Kumbaga, role-playing, ganyan. Okay? And then, simulation naman. Simulation, kung natatandaan yung mga mahilig sa mga mobile games dyan. So, merong mga simulation games, di ba? So, these are instructional scenarios wherein yung learner is placed in a world that is defined by the teacher. So, kumbaga, kumari sa COD, kayo yung sundalo, tama? Yung nambabaril. Nandun kayo sa world na ikaw mismo yung sundalo. Okay? So, kumbaga, they represent reality within which students interact. Okay? So, dito sa dun sa module 5, I have incorporated additional videos, additional readings, tapos merong example doon ng simulation technique. Panoorin nyo lang. So like parang 3 minutes lang yata siya. No? Okay, kumbaga, before, kwento ko lang, when we are still having our face-to-face classes sa MLSP2, we came up with a simulation activity. Yun yung final requirement namin. So, ginroup namin yung students namin into pairs, so tigda-dalawa per group. So, we're in they act as if they are working in the actual laboratory setting. Yung isa, patient, and yung isa, patient siya, and then yung isa, siya si phlebotomist. So, lalapit ngayon si patient with the request in hand, tapos, since I am the medical technologist there, ako yung phlebotomist, i-identify ko how am I going to process or how am I going to collect the specimen, kung saan ko siya ilalagay na tube, yung may anticoagulant ba, so gine-grade namin yun. Kumbaga parang application of all the skills that they have learned through simulation. Okay? So brainstorming naman, this is, okay din to sa mga study groups, is a large or small group activity that encourages the student to focus on the topic and contribute to the free flow of ideas. Okay, so ako as a teacher may begin a brainstorming session by giving you a question or a problem or by introducing a certain topic. Tapos kayo-kayo in a group will brainstorm about the topic that I have given. And also tandaan niyo class, si brainstorming helps promote thinking skills. Okay? Next one, investigatory method. So under investigatory method, we have the laboratory technique, problem solving, research, experimenting, and the field study technique. So investigatory, example, sa chemistry ninyo. Okay, sa laboratory technique tayo, no? So yung laboratory experiments natin, which are designed to help you acquire the fundamental knowledge and skills. Okay, so pwede yun sa laboratory technique. And then sa problem solving, from the word itself, the problem solving, the learner works actively in the solution of a difficult situation. Okay, so almost the same lang with laboratory technique. Kasi we do experiments and then nagsasolve din tayo ng problem. Pero depende pa rin sa inyo kung ano yung pinaka-technique ninyo and kung ano yung style ninyo. Pwedeng i-mix ninyo siya together. Okay? Tapos, dito rin, kay experimenting technique, parang laboratory technique din siya. Kasi sa experimenting technique, mag-experiment tayo to prove a certain hypothesis. Okay? Kay research naman, magre-research tayo to investigate a certain problem. And then the field study naman, ito ginagamit usually sa thesis and researches. Kayo niyan, meron kayong undergraduate thesis. So pwede nyo gawin si field study technique kasi sa field study technique, andun yung surveys. We collect data through interviews. Okay? So mga surveys ito pumapasok. Next one, self-pacing method. Ito yung ginagawa natin ngayon kapag asynchronous tayo. Okay? So the self-paced method allows the students to design their own learning experience. Kayo mismo. Okay? Not only at your own pace, but according to your own interests and learning preferences. So the role of a teacher is just to provide you guidance, to give you feedback, and to provide you with the learning materials. So kumbaga, binibigay lang namin sa modules natin ngayon. Kasi under self-pacing method, we have the modular learning technique and the self-learning kits. Sa self-learning kits, yung mga nasa public schools, yung mga binibigay nila yung SciPacs, yung mga modules, yun, yung self-learning kits. And then dito tayo kay modular learning technique wherein we give you the modules and then we construct them and then we also give you the target dates of submission. So, ito yung present situation natin, lalo na kapag asynchronous tayo. Okay? So, we provide you with the materials and you learn at your own pace. Next one, integrated method. So in this method, we integrate two methods. Kaya nga, lecture, at the same time may discussion, demonstration, at the same time may lecture, or reporting and discussion as well. Pwede rin magbaliktad to, no? Not necessarily ang pangalan niya is lecture, discussion, yung technique. Dapat mauna si lecture, huli si discussion. Pwede naman siyang mag-interchange. Pwedeng mauna si discussion, pwedeng mauna si lecture. Likewise, for demo and lecture, pwedeng lecture muna before demonstration, and so on and so forth. Okay? So, for the lecture demo, lecture demo or demonstration lecture, we combine an oral explanation to communicate processes and concepts, and then we demonstrate. Kumbaga, mas applicable yung demonstration lecture sa mga skills. Kunwari sa phlebotomy, kunwari yung venipuncture, i-present ko yung the proper way of choosing the best vein na pwedeng tusukin kapag venipuncture. So po pwedeng mag-start ako with a lecture which is composed of the do's and don'ts, tapos mga tips, ganyan. And then afterwards, I'll be giving a demonstration. Ipapakita ko ito yung pag-choose ng vein, ito yung right part of the vein na tutusukin natin. Ganun siya. Okay, so we integrate two methods. Same lang dun sa before. Okay, lecture, then afterwards, we discuss with our students, may discussion, or reporting muna before a discussion, or discussion before a reporting. Ganun siya. So, however, merong disadvantage, may ano siya, no, may disadvantage lalo na kapag big class siya. Okay? Because not all students may get the chance to participate in the discussion. Okay? So, mas mag-igi yata ito kapag sa ano, small groups lang. No? Okay. So, there goes the different approaches, methods, and techniques that you can use to be able to have an effective teaching learning process. But before we end with the discussion, I would just like to briefly tackle about critical thinking. So most of you naman are familiar with critical thinking, okay? So it is a composite of attitudes of inquiry, knowledge of the nature of valid inferences, abstractions, and generalizations, skills in employing and applying these attitudes and this knowledge. For example, yung example of critical thinking, si lawyer, meron siyang kaso. Okay? An example of a critical thinking is when a lawyer reviews the evidences presented to him, and from the evidences, I will be devising a strategy to win the case or to decide whether to settle na lang out of court. Yun yung critical thinking. Kumbaga, I'll go deeper beyond the facts, okay? So, it is the ability to think clearly and rationally about what to do and what to believe. So, it is a deeper kind of thinking in which hindi lang tayo nag-stop dito sa question na to. So, we analyze and evaluate what we read. For example, sa laboratory, no? Currently, kunwari, may ginagawa akong test, sabihin natin si blood urea nitrogen. Biglang nasira ngayon yung machine. Okay, automated ako eh. Stat yung request. So kailangan na siya, emergency na kailangan. So anong gagawin ko? So dapat gumagana yung critical thinking. Okay, instead na mataranta ka dyan, ang isipin mo is on how you are going to still process the specimen. Okay, so iisipin mo what caused the problem. So magto-troubleshoot ka ngayon. Okay, ito troubleshoot mo muna. Baka meron ka lang hindi mo lang nalagyan ng tubig, hindi mo lang nalagyan ng standard, hindi mo lang nalagyan ng reagent, or kulang yung specimen mo. I-check mo muna yon. And then kapag hindi pa rin siya gumana, you have to think of ways on how you are going to process the specimen so that you can release the result agad. So, since ang ginagamit mo is an automated machine, meron kang semi-automated, which is meron ka pang isang machine dyan, ima-manual mo na lang yung chemistry mo. So, yun ang critical thinking. Okay, mag-iisip tayo ng ways. We go beyond, okay, what is supposed to be done. Okay, so kailangan yung critical thinking sa medtech, ha? Hindi lang basta, ay, nasira, tapos na. Hindi. We have to think ways. Sabi ko nga, no, pag medtech ka, dapat marunong ka rin magkalikot ng mga machines, magkalikot ng computer. Kasi kapag nag-down yan, sa ayaw at sa gusto mo, gagawa ka ng paraan. Kasi importante yung resulta. May mailabas tayong resulta. Okay. Okay, ito. This is an example nung mga pinag-usapan natin. So, i-identify natin ano yung approach, ano yung method, and ano yung strategy, technique na gagamitin natin. Okay. So, for example, the carbohydrate utilization test. So, this carbohydrate utilization test, it is a test which is done to determine the bacteria's ability to ferment a carbohydrate, such as glucose, lactose, sucrose, and so on and so forth. So, this is under bacteriology. So, from the given example of approaches that I have given a while ago, what particular approach can be done here? So, since the carbohydrate utilization test is a procedure step by step, which involves several processes, perhaps we can use the process approach. Okay? Okay, so since na-identify na natin si process approach, ano yung method na pwede nating gamitin. Okay. Okay, sa process approach kasi, we will demonstrate how the test is done, step by step. And then under the method, the investigatory, what can be used or what method can be used for this approach? We can use the investigatory method. Okay? And under this investigatory method, we can use the laboratory experimentation. Wherein, mag-experiment tayo. Gagawin natin si carbohydrate utilization test. Okay? So, kumbaga, we will find out if the bacteria or this particular bacteria can be able to ferment a particular carbohydrate, or if this bacteria or from the given carbohydrates, what carbohydrate are being fermented by this particular bacteria. Okay, so next one. Yung topic is about clinical laboratory sections. So how are you going to teach it, or how are you going to present this? So these sections, sabihin ko lang, different clinical laboratory sections are bacteriology, microscopy, clinical chemistry, blood banking, hematology, serology. Okay? So for the approach, we can use the discovery approach. Since bago lang to sa inyo ngayon eh, di ba? So you will discover for yourselves. So because we want to discover for yourself so that you can obtain a new knowledge or information. And under discovery approach, what particular method? So activity method, I guess, is the most appropriate method to be employed here. And under the activity method, we can use the simulation technique, wherein you will uncover the different sections of the laboratory and what tests are being conducted here by putting yourselves in a world to stimulate the laboratory. Or pwede din siyang, ito, under dito kay clinical laboratory ha, sa strategy, pwede rin siyang field trip technique. We can visit a laboratory nearby, and from there, we can identify the different sections. So magtutur tayo sa isang laboratory. So kung mapapansin nyo, depende na lang din sa inyo paano nyo gagamitin yung every approach, yung every method, and every technique. Hindi dahil porke sinabi ko na sa clinical laboratory section is simulation, yun at yun na yung gagamitin ninyo. Or activity method or discovery. Kayo pa rin ang magde-decide doon kung ano yung most appropriate and depende pa rin sa learning style niyo and kung paano nyo i-justify why you chose this particular method, why you chose this particular approach and technique. Okay? Alam nyo lang i-justify and alam nyo lang i-put into class yung technique ninyo. Okay? Di tayo dapat by the book class, no? Tandaan natin, di tayo dapat by the book. Okay? So, dapat justification lagi tayo. Okay? Hindi kesyo sinabi ko na ito yung gagamiting technique, all throughout, kayong lahat ganun ang gagawin. Depende pa rin sa inyo. Okay? Not all teachers will use the same technique to present a lesson. Depende yan sa style ng bawat isa. Okay, last example. If you will discuss the diseases caused by the Neisseria species, so most probably included dito yung clinical signs and symptoms or yung clinical manifestations and the mode of transmission of these diseases. So what is the possible approach? We have the inquiry approach. Pwede akong magtanong dito or pwede kayong magtanong. Okay? Or as a teacher, I can ask the student, what are the diseases caused by Neisseria? Okay? By simply asking the question, you as the student may be able to further explore and search for other information. And then the method, discussion. And under this method, the technique can be through a small group discussion. Pwede ko kayong i-divide into small groups wherein you can discuss among yourselves about the topic, and then your chosen leader can share what you have discussed to the entire class afterwards. So ganun yung paggawa natin, no? Katulad din ito ng ng assignment natin for module 4. Okay? So ito, I'll just give you a summary. In conclusion, no, the technique chosen should be consistent with the identified method as well as it should be aligned with the approach of teaching. Meaning, dapat consistent sila with one another. okay, to meet the set objectives and to have a meaningful learning. So sa next module, yung module 5 natin, are the different teaching strategies. So meron na dun yung pag-question, what kind of questions to be used, okay? So anong klase, ano yung do's and don'ts, okay? Andun lahat yon. So parang mag-enjoy na kayo kasi parang magtuturo na rin kayo. Okay, so eto yon. So we'll have a short activity pero hindi siya graded, hindi nyo siya kailangang ipasa sa amin ni Sir Joey. Gawin nyo lang siya on your own using itong ganito. Tapos, kapag sinulat nyo na itong ganyan, ginawa nyo na yan, dapat alam nyo rin i-explain why you chose that particular approach. Okay? Hindi nyo siya ipapasa. Hindi siya isasubmit. Gawin nyo lang as a practice. Okay? Tapos na pakicopy na lang, no? Okay, so 1 minute to copy or screenshot nyo siya. Sorry sa background noise, ha? So just to check lang yung understanding ninyo, and please take note of assignment under module 4. This is already related to your final requirement, no? Sa teaching demo. So mag-choose na kayo ng topic ninyo. So kung ano yung chosen topic ninyo will be the one that will be used for your final demo or for your final requirement, which is the teaching demo. Okay? So next week class, midterm exam na natin. Wala tayong